Good evening and welcome. My name is Shanna Cox. I'm chair of the Planning Board. Today is Monday, December 22nd, and I call this meeting to order. Can I have the roll call, please?
Absolutely. Roger Dupree.
Here.
And thank you for your service for all these years.
Thank you.
Michael Marcotte.
Present.
Lucy Bisson here. Good God.
Mark Roy.
Mark Roy.
Here.
You're here twice.
I'm sorry. Shanna Cox.
Here?
Alexander Pine.
Here.
Amy Smith.
Here.
Sorry.
No problem.
Penthea Burns.
Here.
And Zoe Lindstrom, I'm sorry.
Here.
And for the record, the city staff attending this evening are Shelley Norton, Deputy Director, Craig Tebow, Land Use Planner, and Linda Tripp, Administrative Assistant.
Thank you. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No, there aren't.
Correspondence?
I did receive an email today from an abutter of 1675 Lisbon Street. He had a couple of questions related to the stormwater. I spoke to Public Works and answered his questions and forwarded that to the board. I do have it here if you want it read into the minutes. And then I also sent out an email today regarding voting for officers at the next meeting, so people have that information to review between
Have
now
you
and then.
received applications for all of the folks who are terming?
I don't get them, so
Okay.
I don't have confirmation that they've been received, but I do know that those terming out who wanted to reapply were planning to.
Great. Thanks. The email from the abutter, can that go on record with our minutes without you having to read it?
Yes, yep, we can do that.
Can you place that on record, unless anyone has not had a chance to see it yet today?
I have not seen it.
Okay, can you provide a printout to Mike?
Yes, we can. And I also had an announcement to make. The Complete Streets Committee needs additional members, and there was a request from staff of that board to us if anyone had any friends or people you might suggest to apply to the Complete Street Committee, or if anyone on this board wants to also serve on that board.
You're killing it on forestry already. Don't overtax yourself. Feel free, by all means, but thanks for your duplication of service already.
You don't want to go for a triple? No.
I'm just,
Kidding.
it's called a hat trick when you serve on 3 committees, is that the way? Or soccer? No, not soccer, like hockey. Hockey's an expensive sport, and I didn't introduce my kids to it.
I don't like skating.
Yeah, same. Are we good with all the correspondence? Want me to give you a minute, Mike? I'm sorry, I don't mean to rush you.
I'm just trying to get,
Yeah, take your time with it.
but the individual who wrote the email has been satisfied by Public Works response?
I believe so. I didn't get a subsequent reply. I got an initial reply when I said I was reaching out to Public Works, and he was grateful for the speed of that. But
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And it seemed like, when I read it, the nature of Public Works response would satisfy someone with the concerns that were listed.
Yep.
And those are in there, but you almost have to read from the bottom up. Or from the back to the front, if it's in paper, I suppose. Okay. Public hearings. We're going to start this evening with Cook's Corner Self-Storage on behalf of EJ Enterprises LLC, which has submitted an application for the development of self-storage at 1675 and 1717 Lisbon Street on 5.13 acres. I believe, Mr. Tebow, this is yours.
Yep. So if you'll take a look at the plan on the screen, on both screens, that displays the combined 1675 and 1717 Lisbon Street properties. It is located in the highway business zone, and the use for the property of self-storage facilities is allowed there. Previously, the 2 properties were approved separately for actually marijuana cultivation for, I think, 1675, and 1717 was approved for equipment sales and services. The building in the middle, I believe, is existing and will remain. The storage facilities around it are new construction. In total, the development will add 28,000 square feet of new impervious surface, which is still within the the parameters of that highway business zone.
Is this the former Elks?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So, turn to the second page on traffic, circulation, and parking. Self-storage is not anticipated to create many vehicle trips, and so review for that, certainly not a traffic movement permit, nothing like that was required. Staff, Public Works, Fire, Police reviewed the initial project, the initial application, provided comments. Those have been addressed to our satisfaction with the following three recommendations in the memo. You'll see three recommendations. Staff recommend approval of the project with those recommendations, and happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. Does anyone on the board have questions for the staff before we hear from the applicant? Yeah, Mr. Dupree?
The building in the center, that's the existing Elks building, right?
Mhm.
What are you doing inside of that? Are you remodeling that?
Oh, so we do want to move to questions for the applicant, Mr.
Yeah.
Dupree? All right, can we see if there's any other questions from the board, and then we'll ask the applicant to come up? Great. Can you guys come up and introduce yourself? And then say anything you'd like to say / please answer Mr. Dupree's question for you.
Yeah, my name is Mike Gatto. I'm here with Mike
You
Bennett.
want to pull the microphone a little closer, Mike? Thank you.
Yes, my name is Mike Gatto. I'm here with Mike Bennett, who represents Cook's Corner Self-Storage. I thought Eric from EJ Enterprise would be here tonight, but haven't seen him yet. So we prepared the application for this project, as you can tell. The answer to the question is that the Elks building itself will be completely gutted and cleaned, and will be modified to have interior climate control self-storage and a small office towards the front of the building.
Good, thank you.
And I really didn't have much more of a presentation. I just figured I'd answer questions. It doesn't look like we have a lot of audience tonight, so.
Thanks. Any other questions for the applicant? Well, the camera can't catch, there's no one in the room. I'm still going to open this up to public hearing. If anyone would like to come forward or from the hallways, they would speak at the podium for 3 minutes or less, state their name. And seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Any other questions from the board? If not, would be seeking a motion.
Go ahead. Do you have a question, or?
No, I was going to make the motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that the application submitted by Cook's Corner Self-Storage for a self-storage facility at 1675 Lisbon Street meets all of the necessary criteria contained in the zoning and land use code, including but not limited to Article 13, Section 4, approval criteria, and that approval be granted with the following conditions. Number one, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall coordinate with the city staff on final language for a post-construction stormwater management performance guarantee. Once complete, the applicant shall record the guarantee with the Registry of Deeds and provide the city with a copy for their records. Number two, prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the site will be permanently stabilized, otherwise a performance bond will be required. Number three, prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, a professional engineer shall provide stamped statement indicating all stormwater and site improvements have been completed in accordance with the approved plan.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any final discussion? Call the roll, please.
Roger Dupree.
Yes,
Michael Marcotte.
Yes.
Lucy Bisson, yes. Mark Roy.
Yes.
Shanna Cox.
Yes.
Amy Smith.
Yes.
Alexander Pine.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Enjoy being in town. Yeah, happy holidays. We're going to move to public hearing B. The planning board sending a recommendation to the city council for amendments to the zoning and land use code, Articles 2, 5, 9, 11, and 12, for changes to regulations around accessory dwelling units, setback variance applications, parking standards, daycares, mobile homes, multiple principal structures, walls and fences, and changes to allowed uses and dimensional space and bulk requirements. We do have some lovely large form printouts today to help us with this item. Shelley, take us away.
Last meeting, we went through the changes that were proposed. We have subsequently made a few minor edits, and then you'll see, especially in Article 12, parking, we actually made a change to the use chart as far as formatting goes. So staff has alphabetized these uses
Nice.
by category. Yes, we're actually quite excited about this change ourselves.
That's what I'm talking about. It's great. Yeah.
So Craig also made a couple of additional changes. I don't know if you want to outline those for folks. I know there was talk about trying to further streamline among similar uses to have things be similar. So Craig can talk about that. I also want to point out that we had printed out this evening as well. We didn't have them done for the packets last week, but we have alphabetized the charts now as well in Article 11. So that's the only change to these charts we printed out tonight, is they are within category alphabetized. So for example, all the residential uses under the residential heading have been alphabetized, et cetera. So
Can I ask a related question?
yes.
And maybe it's just more obvious now that they're alphabetized, and we're there all along as such, but the neighborhood restaurant and neighborhood retail stores, were those like that all along and just
They
muddled
were
in?
on here, they just, yep, they weren't together.
Alphabet's cool.
It is, it really changes how you see
It really
things.
does, yeah.
I think that neighborhood restaurants was added here.
Oh, okay.
Because we had that conversation last time, and it was picking up on a prior conversation, and so it felt like maybe, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, you were referring to Article 12 list, I was referring to Article 11, but they're
I
all
was actually just
alphabetized now.
referring to the chart where it exists. I haven't gotten to the other parts yet.
Okay.
That's great.
Beautiful. Did you want to talk about
Uh,
Article 12?
yeah, I can talk about some of the changes that we made.
Well, do you want to talk about it in order of your memo? I didn't mean to just get excited and jump to the table, sorry.
I guess the question is if the board would like us to go back through the articles where really very little changed from last time.
Well, then may I ask the board, given that we've had this over the weekend and that we've talked about this many, many times, did any of you flag any specific area for questions or clarifying comments today? So that we do not need to go through the work we've done previously? Then please do, tell us about your changes.
Okay, and I do want to point out as well, in addition to the alphabetizing, which is new this evening, Zoe also prepared additional minor comments for the board. So ideally, for a motion, I would suggest that you follow the language we have, and then with the addition of alphabetizing and Zoe's, incorporate that into the changes. Okay.
Okay, so we certainly took a deeper dive into the parking standards. Going into further detail, we could start with the adult business establishments because I can just go down the list. With adult business establishments, we changed those to one space per 200 square feet of customer service area. So that was in line with removing references to number of seats, and we just went with square
Which
footage.
piece of paper do you want?
Yeah, we can.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've got a full packet, just wherever you want to start.
I am in Article 12, Performance Standards, Section 17, the chart for required spaces for uses.
Thank you. Okay, great,
Yeah.
thanks.
What do you mean?
I don't think that was a change that we had before, so that's new, that we eliminated that.
You were talking
Oh.
about adult use?
Adult business
Yes.
establishments, it's,
Yes, so, okay, that's right. I just have to remind myself what the change was. So, adult business establishments and drinking places were both the same category. We looked at the definitions, realized that they were quite different, just by the definition, particularly with adult business establishment is a little varied. So we put them into separate groups. And then we changed the requirements for adult business establishments to be pertaining to square footage.
Sorry. You are definitely in 12, Article 12.
Yeah, I'm on
yeah,
the,
section 17, right here.
Page
It's
4.
it's the multi-page, yeah, right there.
Thank
Right
you.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, drinking places.
Adult business establishments and drinking places, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem, no problem.
Carry on. I
okay.
apologize. Is everyone there now?
Thank
Okay. I wasn't the only one shuffling through paper. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Okay, moving on. Auto repair garages and gasoline service stations. We changed that to just 2 spaces per service bay. We no longer require the additional 1 space per employee.
Okay.
Childcare and nursery school facilities, family daycares, small daycares, and daycare centers. We changed those into just 2 separate categories, as you'll see below. So childcare, just below that, we've got childcare and nursery school facilities with 12 or fewer persons, just require 2 spaces flat. Just below that, childcare and nursery school facilities with greater than 12 children, 2 spaces, plus 1 space per every 6 children in excess of 12. So if you've got 18 children, you need those 2 spaces plus 1 space for the additional 6, in that, so on and so forth. Drinking places, 1 space per 200 square feet of seating area. I believe that might have been a change that we had proposed previously. Drive-in restaurants, 10 spaces, and that remains. 10 spaces plus 1 space per 200 square feet of dining area, indoor or outdoor. Previously, that was 10 spaces plus 1 space per 1 space per 100 square feet of additional gross floor area. So we just thought it made more sense to relate it to dining area rather than just gross square footage. Light industrial uses, we bumped that up from 500 to 750. Hotels, motels, inns. I'm actually going to jump around a little bit here because this ties into the discussion from last meeting. Hotels, motels, and inns, tourist homes, and bed and breakfasts all require 2 spaces plus 1 space per sleeping room. We looked at the definitions. They're very similar. Especially when we look at the definition for bed and breakfast, which requires that a bed and breakfast with 7 or 8 residents or 7 or 8 sort of guests is classified as a tourist home. And then if it's more than 7 or 8 guests, then it's classified as a motel. So they're all just the number of guests, really. There are some minor tweaks, but so we thought we'd streamline it and make them all the same.
That's great.
Let's see, neighborhood restaurants, no spaces required. Neighborhood retail stores, no spaces required. Professional business offices, that bumped up from 300 to 500 square feet. Restaurants, bumped that up from 1 space, or we bumped it up to 1 space per 200 square feet of dining area. Again, we wanted to tie it into dining area. Retail and personal service establishments, that also increased from 250 to 500 square feet. Self-storage facilities, we changed that from requiring 5 spaces to 3 spaces if they have an office. Okay, tourist homes and bed and breakfast, we looked at that. We did get rid of the note about bed and breakfast. You'll see a whole lot crossed out there. We thought that was a little bit redundant because anything that goes, if you read through that language, anything that, a bed and breakfast that goes to the planning board, you will, just by virtue of reviewing the project, you will review the requirements for parking. And so, we don't necessarily need a prescribed use for every different type of bed and breakfast. You will view it by the context of the application. Dormitories, that is a new category that we added. We added 1 half space per bed. Originally, that was tied in with sort of educational institutions, but we realized that there are some that don't have dormitories, some that do, and so we figured it would just look at the use itself as a residential use and give it its own sort of requirements. Dwelling units, that was proposed last time around. That's from the state requirement, so now 1 space per dwelling unit. Homeless shelters, we just shortened that language. Housing for the elderly, no change. And then dwellings, we got rid of all that separate language, and it's all just dwellings. Almost done. Business colleges and schools, we got rid of that one, and let's see, why did we get rid of that one?
Because we took the residential out.
You just
Oh,
have
that's-
institutions of higher education is how you made that edit. and then
Yeah, we
combined
took
them.
the residential out of that. That's
Great.
what the rooming dormitories was, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, let's see, hospitals and medical clinics further down. Those were 2 separate categories. We just grouped them together since, again, they were very similar. Residential colleges, universities, and institutions. That's right, we got rid of the top bit about residential colleges and created the category for dorms. Medical clinics, got rid of that, combined it with hospitals. And let's see, yeah, the rest is just, we just tweaked it up a little bit. Everywhere we could, we added a little bit more flexibility. The biggest change is some new language at the bottom of the page. Uses located within 500 feet of a public transit service. Distance shall be measured as a straight line from the point of service to the property line of the designated use. You are allowed, or required spaces for the designated use may be reduced by 50%. So if you're within a certain distance of a bus stop, you can have your requirement for parking be reduced.
Can I ask a clarifying question on that? Is this language enough, and will it matter if we're differentiating between the bus stop by which you access the public service, or there's a line that cuts through here, but the next bus stop's a mile away?
We would look at...
I certainly understand the intent, right? But
it's a good question. I mean, with the way it's written is a straight line from the point of service. I mean, we can be more clear and say that it's...
The bus stop, we could
Yeah.
just call it a bus stop. if we want.
Yeah, I think it might be
Yeah.
clearer if you say a bus stop than just bus service. Because like Shanna says, if it's just going down the street, that's bus service, but if they don't stop, it negates what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I would say transit service just leaves it more open for the future.
yeah, an access point too, maybe is what you're looking for?
Transit stop.
Transit stop?
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
whatever you, but I think stop.
Transit stops great,
Transit
but I
stop,
think, yeah,
okay.
it's about the fact that it stops. Not only that, but with a lot of love to our local public transportation system, the stops have been changing. And there is an on-demand now.
Right.
And I mean, I imagine that anything that's trying to reduce their parking requirements by 50% would probably come before us or you guys, but I wouldn't want a pioneering developer to be like, well, 3 people can just call when they need it, and so I'd like 50% less parking. And I love the flexibility that they're trying to build in and some efficiency into the system itself, but, you know, be wary. I don't want to design to the bottom 2% either, though, so. Great language. Amy and then Alex.
Yeah, just a question, to summarize, all of this is more permissive, so it's not like somebody used to be okay and now they need to be grandfathered or everything's
That's right,
more.
yeah.
Okay, great.
I guess, okay, so this is straight line, like as the crow flies is the measurement?
Yeah, yep.
Got it. Okay.
We felt like that was going to be easier to
Yeah.
determine.
I would,
And
you know,
500 feet's pretty short,
yeah.
relatively short.
I was looking at, you know, average distance between stops in the US and it's somewhere between 1,000 and 1,300 feet, so that seems like pretty fair. I would wonder if we get into the straight line thing, like there are places where you're like, sure, the bus stop's 500 feet straight line, but it's like
You gotta go
a
around
mile
the
walk.
university to do it.
Yeah, or like.
It's through 6 buildings.
Yeah.
You can't get through, yeah.
So, I mean, we live in a limited world. We can only do so much with language, but I am a little concerned about that. But good problem to have in the future.
Our bus stops are nowhere near 1,300 feet apart. Again, I'd like to think that, I'm just thinking about how this board has dug into pedestrian access to both bus and Shaw's on an application that's come. So I don't feel like this language would somehow allow something to slip past this board. Right? Like if somebody came forward and said, it's 498 feet, and we said, great, show us how you'd get there. Like, well, that's actually 2/3 of a mile. I imagine there'd be discussion and it could even be a condition of approval, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And these are, boy, there's going to be probably a lot of developments that are still going to want to do a lot more parking than what our minimums are. Yeah.
I think that's right. Craig, were you all set with your section?
Yep. I'm
Other
all good.
questions for Craig around some of the changes in 12? I had some questions that harken to definitions from your section that you just introduced, which is just making sure, because they might already be there and we just don't have them because they're not being changed, which is great. The definition for adult business establishment, which might be more inclusive than just drinking establishments. Does that exist somewhere and cover us?
Yes, but let me just pull it up and make sure that we know exactly what it's called.
Spoiler alert, I'm going to ask the same thing about neighborhood restaurants and dormitories.
Yeah, so adult business establishment is defined. And that's what it's called. It doesn't involve drinking establishments. I'm not sure why that was ever bundled together, but somebody at one point thought
We had
they
a
were
whole period
similar
around
enough.
anti-drinking establishment
Yeah.
specifically language, and we've been untying it for years, so
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
And then it was neighborhood restaurant and
Restaurant.
retail, okay.
Well, retail was already in the land use table, and thus I am assuming that we already had a definition and that the change was,
Yeah, so we do have a definition for neighborhood restaurant, and then we have one for neighborhood retail stores.
great. And then dormitories,
Ooh,
the other one where you were making a change.
we might not.
It's just gonna be weird to have a parking rule
Oh,
for
we do.
dormitory. Great, love it.
Yep, dormitories and residence hall are defined as the same thing.
Great news. Thank you. Were there any other sections you specifically wanted to outline changes you'd made? Great. Is there discussion from the board on anything that's been presented? We'll be opening it for a public hearing
I'll
momentarily.
I'll add one more thing. We did structure the Article 12, Section 17 parking requirements. We did structure this as a table. Our goal is we'll have those table lines in the actual ordinance. We just left those out because it interfered with some of the underlines that we had.
Yeah.
So, the final product online should have that final table, grid
But
lines.
is it going to be alphabetized?
Well, and we don't necessarily want to speak for the clerk's department, who actually will be the ones finalizing the document, but it is our hope that there will be lines.
Yeah. Thanks.
Our hope, yes.
Great. Questions or discussion from the board? I'd be looking to open it up for a public hearing. This vast public that's here. there's anyone from the public or the hallway who'd like to come in and join us on this public hearing, you'd make your way into the podium now. Seeing none, close the public hearing, and I'd be looking for a motion from the board.
Okay, I'll make a motion. Pursuant to Article 7, Section 4, and Article 17, Section 5 of the Zoning and Land Use Code, to send a favorable recommendation to the City Council for amendments to Appendix A, Zoning and Land Use Code, Article 2, Definitions, Article 5, Administration and Enforcement, Article 9, Appeals and Variances, Article 11, District Regulations, and Article 12, Performance Standards, and the mention that the
With the alphabetizing and typographical.
yes,
suggestions.
changes that were made by Ms. Lindstrom.
And one this evening discussed regarding transit stops.
Correct.
Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Dupree. Any final discussion from the board? Mr. Marcotte?
From listening very carefully to the action necessary and the recommendation. Now, all of these changes have been proposed by the planning board, correct?
Yes, you're the ones proposing it to the council.
To the council. Does the council have the right and/or privilege of amending this in other ways and passing it without us involved again?
They do, if it's not considered substantive. So they might have additional, let's say, minor adjustments to language that they might make that wouldn't come back to you, but if there were significant changes, they would come back.
Okay. I just needed clarification on whether they could make changes on their own. Thank you.
Yep.
Call the roll, please.
Roger Dupree,
Yes.
Michael Marcotte,
No.
Lucy Bisson, yes. Mark Roy,
Yes.
Shanna Cox,
Yes?
Amy Smith,
Yes.
Alexander Pine.
Yes.
Would you like a record of the no vote? Mr. Marcotte, is there anything you'd like to offer to City Council about why you've chosen no?
I'm having flashbacks to the needle exchange. When we gave a thumbs up, it wasn't really an official recommendation, but it was a thumbs up, a thumbs down. That mutated quite considerably, and it didn't come back to us. That's one reason. I obviously have concerns on the parking issues and the state mandates violating our home rule. So, too much to get into the weeds of, but that's generalizations of my no vote.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move to other business, and item A is the planning board sending a recommendation to City Council on the adoption of the Smart Payne Park Master Plan. Shelley?
Great. All right. Would folks like me to pull up the master plan on the screen?
Sure.
Okay.
Does it look significantly different than the one in our packet?
It isn't really. I will say there's a whole section of background information that we didn't print for you.
Oh.
We really focused on the recommendation section of the master plan. So there's some history about the park. There's information about the naming of the park. It talks a little bit about the Riverfront Island Master Plan, and then starts looking at the focus areas in the master plan of the park, breaking them into sections that they then talk about in more detail, where they do an inventory and analysis of what's existing, what constraints and concerns there are. And then they start looking at pedestrian pathways, they met with big event groups that meet in the park to look at how they use the park, to identify, points of commonality and also points of conflict, so they could figure out if they are designing something to make sure it would be adaptable to the different uses that are currently prominent in the park. So there's a number of elements about that where they looked at the different setups for the different vendors and events. Then they started digging into the actual recommendations. So page 25 here that I'm showing has the main features of the master plan vision for the park, and how is the numbered and described. And then they go into detail in individual sections of the park. So that's the master plan today. When you get further down, they have some really great photos and images of some ideas for, furniture within the park, just sort of the visual character of some of these spaces, which is really exciting. The plan is, of course, being a master plan, not everything will probably get built the way this is laid out here now, but it gives us a vision going forward. And there are elements at the end that talk about pricing for these different pieces, which help for planning for decision makers who want to start working on figuring out priorities and budget. So if there are any general questions or if you have any comments on the plan itself, we can certainly take those back, but we are looking for a recommendation to council on this, primarily because in the ordinance you have the purview over the comprehensive plan, and also other planning documents for the city. So we're just looking to take that step before the council takes final action.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Questions, comments? Mr. Marcotte?
First one's a comment, second one's probably a question. What caught my attention was the enlargement of the stage. I remember when we first suggested an amphitheater. We're hoping for a larger venue and much more activity than what we've seen over the years. So an enlargement, as long as it can improve the size of an accommodation, would be awesome. Trying to lead that into the question, with the LCIP coming before us in the next few months, is there anything that's that management has identified as projects for this area, and how would it fit into this plan?
I don't know exactly what Public Works has put in the LCIP for implementation, but we'll definitely get an answer for you for that for January for when we look at the LCIP.
Because it's great to have a master plan on the shelf, but it needs to be an always moving object, and not just sit there and collect dust.
Yep.
Do you know if the city anticipates to do what they've done historically, which is designate $50,000 or more towards its continued implementation annually?
Yes, we have definitely put that in the budget. So I know, because that came from planning, so we have put that in. But as far as the larger implementation funding, that's from Public Works, so I'm not aware of what they've put in. I know they're interested in that, but I just haven't looked at their budget request.
In recent years, there's been some investment in the canals, right?
There has, and there's also been the two federal congressional spending designations. So right now, the extension of the Ribbon Path and of Beach Street is under construction, which was partially funded by those funds, and then partially funded by the city. And then there's also design that's happening for the extension of the Riverwalk across the main mill property and behind Continental Mill. There's a bridge that needs to be put in to get over to the Continental Mill over the canal. So that design work is currently happening. So there are some pieces of the plan in relation to it that are currently in process. And definitely I know Public Works plan is to continue piecing off these things and keep moving forward. So I'm sure that they have made some requests.
Mr. Dupree?
Shelley, has there been anything, I didn't read anything in here about security for curbing vandalism. Is that an issue that has never been brought up or should be brought up?
I know that when we design things, it's always a discussion with the designer and certainly with the landscape architects. We've talked about that in terms of, when we would have play equipment or signs or other things to make sculpture, to make sure that they're cleanable, for graffiti, and then also that things are as vandal-proof as possible. So that is a consideration. I don't know in the master plan how we would address that other than by making that recommendation that it's always considered during the design process. And I know that the city has gotten smarter over the years with figuring out when we work with an artist that we always need to have a plan for if something's damaged, if something needs repair, if there's graffiti in that, kind of just knowing what their intent is. But it is always a consideration.
I know, the reason I bring it up is that when the Cedar Street Park went in, within a month and a half, the place was trashed. I mean, completely. They spent almost $800, to put benches and picnic tables, basketball court. Everything was gone within a month and a half, and it hasn't been reopened since. And I'm thinking that doing this is going to aggravate the situation.
Where is Cedar Street Park?
I don't know.
At Potford Park.
I'm not actually familiar.
What, Cedar Street? Yeah, it was right up on the corner, just before the
Bridge?
bridge? No, it was up in back of the
Are you
apartments.
thinking Lionel Potvin Park right across from the Continental Mill on the river?
It was up behind the new condominiums that they put up on Cedar Street.
Isn't Cedar Street by,
You mean the house from the Continental?
Cedar Street is the road that goes across to
To
New
Auburn.
Auburn.
You mean near
On the
in
bridge.
Canada?
No, maybe I'm getting the wrong thing.
Might
but
be the
it's-
wrong street.
Street.
Probably not Cedar.
Blake? Are you talking about the one by the
Par-
Italian bakery?
Yeah,
Gotcha. That's Bartlett and Blake. Blake's the high part and Bartlett's the low part.
It's
And it's
Pierce.
Parody-
Isn't
Parody
it called
Park.
Pierce Park or something like that?
Parody,
There-
after the former city councilor Parody.
Yeah, I know.
Depending on which part, because there's the
Yeah.
flat one
Yeah.
that is like the soccer field that's on the Franklin pasture side, and then there's the little one that's behind the Italian bakery and has stairs that go up to
Right.
Blake.
yeah, that's the one there that, that they had spent all that money in a matter of time it was gone.
I think that's where some of the city's learning that was referenced might have happened, because
Yeah.
it's been in good repair the last couple of years, and a big part of the issue was the fact that they put in grass and not turf, but no way to water the grass, and it was regularly used, and the grass didn't stick and became a dust bowl. But it's been good for the last 2 years. Mr. Marcotte?
And when Roger mentioned security, I got thinking about security cameras. And I know that in certain parts of town, in that part of town, as a matter of fact, there are security cameras. I'm not sure how many and how well it's monitored by PD, but that may be something that Smart Payne Park could also use, is a fair amount of security cameras. And the more use that the park gets, the less, in some way, maybe the less security needed. Because when no activity is happening is probably when the cameras will be most effective, to keep an eye on what's happening when an event isn't happening. Because that's when most of the vandalism would probably occur.
Others? Mr. Pine, Ms. Smith?
With this plan, when you were saying that sort of, implementation will change over time, that makes sense. Is it like placement of elements and all of these elements will probably happen, or is it going to be sort of some of these elements may change?
Yeah, so I think that that's to be determined, in that that's normally how a master plan is anyway. Like you think about our comprehensive plan, certain elements of it get traction and others don't. Either it's a lack of funding and time resources, or it's a determination over time that there's something that's better or would work better for the city. So I think with a master plan like this, it's very exciting. There's a lot of elements here. There's going to be a timeline over which things will happen. And with that timeline, some things will get prioritized over others. And it may also be determined down the road that something that was proposed, maybe it doesn't end up happening because something else comes along. I think the intent certainly is among staff that we would love to see most or all of the elements happen. And there's certainly an intent to keep the momentum going in the park with implementation. But then it'll be just a matter of finding funding over time to make it all happen with the leadership of the council. So there's going to be, the council and administration will also play a part in deciding the prioritization.
Got it. Well, I guess just a little note for that. It seems odd to me to have the dog park and the Red Shop, which may become community or restaurant space, next to each other. Dog parks are usually pretty noisy, so it seems like maybe we'll end up with some precluding of one or the other with that sort of conflict there. But it's a really nice plan. It's very exciting.
Is the dog park going to be fenced in?
Yeah, certainly any dog park would be fenced in, typically, so the dogs can run free within the space. Yeah.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I just had a process question. So first, so maybe not everybody knows, but I was the representative to the Riverfront Island Master Plan a couple years ago when all this happened, and the community outreach was great. A lot of people participated and collected a lot of great ideas, and love this plan. And what I'm wondering is, as we do dig into the details, is there going to be a way for the public to participate in helping the decision makers prioritize timing and expenditure? I'm also involved with both Lewiston Rowing, that is the current tenant at the Red Shop, and Downtown Lewiston Association, and there's been a lot of community interest in the plan, that it would be great to have maybe some sort of a workshop. Now that things are starting to happen and people can feel the whole thing coming together, I think getting the details right is really important, and we'd love to do some more community outreach before we go into this next phase.
That's a great question. I think we can, I can raise that to administration. Yeah, and ask that question. I think certainly when things come before the council, then there's the opportunity for input. I think a number of these items, oftentimes the way it moves forward, though, is that Public Works has a project, they put in for funding, and then it gets approved by council. So if
So
you
then-
have a specific project or something in mind, then it might be worth it to just provide public comment to council on that.
I'm hearing something different, I think, and maybe from an earlier request today. But what I'm hearing in this moment is that at least Amy would be interested in seeing our recommendation to council with this plan to encourage public engagement, to see the implementation both successful and meet community need. Is that what you were?
Yeah, exactly, because the plan as it stands is more just about sort of the physical pieces of it, as opposed to sort of the programming of it and what things make sense to do all at once. You sort of carve out a piece, and I think that the community would have a lot of thoughts on that, so.
So public
Also
input.
offer the community is responsible for 90% of the programming that does happen in the park, and that the programming in that park is not currently city-run. And so if we view community people, organizations as partners that can help this become realized and even maybe find some of the private investment, then public engagement is a strategy for implementation and not just a gut check on what color do you want the rings to be on the monkey bars.
Okay. So we're, recommendation that there be public input and engagement around the prioritization and
Implementation.
implementation. Yep.
Other questions or comments? I've got one that I'd like to throw in. I'm assuming that on the page titled Proposed Festival Event Layout, where we're using yellow, blue, pink, and green, and the blue indicates utilities and amenities.
Does it happen to have a page number on the bottom of it?
No.
31
Oh.
46.
Wow, good
Beautiful, thank you.
eyes. That's like light gray.
I know.
Yeah, page 31? That one.
Here we are, okay.
So the blue is being used to indicate utilities and amenities. And I wouldn't want to see a map of every electrical outlet. I would like to see electrical outlets that exist outside of the blue areas. So as somebody who has done events in the park, the retail vendors, they need to like charge their tablets when they're doing their whatever. And if this was to be believed at face value, then only a small bit above the horse ring and amphitheater would have some. And then a significant amount of potentially utilities and restrooms near what I think is the Red Shop. But I would just, the stage should have electrical, and you would want like 1 or 2 posts on that outer, like pedestrian ring that goes lower in the park, if the programming is assuming activities and activation down there, particularly, like I'd love to see the city do more retail and go nuts with small business vendor fairs.
And
You need some charging, like even just the safety tent that is the like where you find lost children or keys, needs some basic electrical. And I would say it is a prohibitor of successful events in the park as it currently stands and has been overlooked for years. And so,
and why is there electrical at where the restrooms are?
Oh,
cleaning?
I was, just to chime in here, I
Just
think
curious.
there might be sort of some terminology stuff going on. They might be talking about utilities in terms of like utility spaces, so like where the porta potties
I
go,
believe
where the
that's to
EMS
be
is.
true, which
But
is-
I totally agree with you.
That's why I said I
Outlets
don't want a map
everywhere.
of all the electrical outlets. I want to know they exist outside of the blue areas.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. I don't need to know how many or where, but I'm saying if currently, because currently, if they used existing electrical, those blue areas it would expand the electrical to include new areas, and it would still be really limited. And it was the utilities that got me. And so I would also add, and I don't know that it's on here, but like just access to water. Like you've got a lot of sports and stuff, and the ability to like hit up a water fountain or refill your water bottle in maybe more than one spot, like would be great.
Yep.
And just to chime in, that's the level of detail that if we go back to the community and work with the people who actually throw the events in the park, you could, I think that you could come up with a really great detailed plan.
Mr. Pine?
Also, just really quick on the subject of outlets, I've seen this more in other cities. I don't think we've done it here. Higher capacity outlets so that food trucks don't need to run their generators. Quieter event, more pleasant event, less low-level pollution, better air quality.
We don't do that here.
Yeah, no, I know.
Great recommendation.
So, yeah, I mean, I think sort of as more things get turned into electric power, or that's something we're sort of seeing industry-wide, just having more capacity sort of building for the future here would be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seeing no other comments, I'd entertain the action.
I'll make a motion pursuant to Article 7, Section 4B of the Zoning and Land Use Code to send a favorable recommendation to the City Council for the adoption of the Samard Payne Memorial Park Master Plan.
With the additional recommendation that public engagement for implementation and prioritization be recommended to council.
I agree.
Okay, thanks.
Second?
Any last discussion? Call the roll.
Roger Dupree.
Yes.
Michael Marcotte.
Yes.
Lucy Bisson, yes. Mark Roy.
Yes.
Shanna Cox.
Yes.
Amy Smith.
Yes.
Alexander Pine.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to update on staff meeting with Auburn Planning. How's that going?
Yeah, it went very well. So we prepared a memo to provide just information on what we talked about. I guess I didn't really plan to go through the memo, but if anyone has any questions.
Any questions, comments? Thank you for the update and for coordinating.
Okay, yeah.
Is there going to be any more of these inter-city communication updates? In other words, working with Auburn a little bit more than we have in the past?
I guess I don't know. We can, probably, it's probably a good idea if maybe we did it twice a year or something like that. I know that they are going to be looking for a new planning director, so probably until that position is filled, we wouldn't meet again. But it has been September that we met, and I'm sure a few things will have changed. But it was a great meeting. It was a good suggestion the board had, so staff was glad to do it, and certainly we'd be happy to do it again.
Consider yourself asked again, so you have a reason to.
All right, yeah, we'd be happy to do that this winter, spring.
Thanks. I have on other business item C. Would like to present Mr. Dupree a certificate of appreciation. This certificate of recognition is presented to Roger Dupree with appreciation for his contribution to the community through service on the planning board. It is signed by Mayor Carl Shaleen and dated December 9th, 2025. Mr. Dupree has decided not to rejoin the board next year and has, by our quick estimate, served 6 years in term plus 2 years in another term for a total of 8. Are we right?
Yep.
Thank you so much for your years of service, Roger. And I obnoxiously request that we get a photo, and I would like Lucy to join me in front of the planning board since she was the presiding chair for many of those years. Will the two of you join me for a quick photograph?
Sure. Love that.
Do you have a phone camera, or would you like me to dedicate mine?
We have one, but if you would like one on yours as well, we'd be happy to do that.
One, I'll
Yes.
find it wherever you post it, right?
Yes.
Great. We'll let you be in the middle, sir. How's that? What do they call it, a rose between two thorns? Yeah. Would y'all like to switch lanes so that you can join us? Here, I'm gonna clap back for you, so. Mark, make yourself seen.
Here, maybe if you go sit.
All right, if you guys could maybe.
Do you want us to scoot?
No, don't scoot.
Great.
We can
Um,
stand.
okay.
Yeah, we can
No,
just-
that's perfect, okay.
Yeah, right?
All right, good. Okay. Oh, that's looking good. Amy, can you just go a little bit more that way and Mark a little bit more that way? Yeah, that's good. Okay, looks perfect. Michael, you could get a little closer if you want, but you don't have to. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Everybody say Article 12.
Terrific. Looks good.
Congratulations. Yeah. 8 years. Oh, the changes we've made.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Okay, reading of the minutes. We're looking for a motion to adopt the December 8th, 2025 draft minutes. Place them on record. Did we love them?
Motion to adopt?
Thank you.
Second,
Great. Roll call?
Roger Dupree.
Yes.
Michael Marcotte.
Yes.
Lucy Bisson, yes. Mark Roy.
Yes.
Shanna Cox.
Yes.
Amy Smith.
Yes.
Alexander Pine.
Yes.
Okay, before we jump to adjournment, and I swear we won't hold long, the next scheduled planning board meeting is January 12th. A reminder that there is a workshop that we can tune into online or join on the 5th.
Yes.
Yes.
Monday, the 5th.
Yep, so on Monday, the 5th at 6 o'clock from 6 to 7 before the regular council meeting and swearing in that will happen, there is a presentation by the finance director on the LCIP that you'll be able to watch from home or be here in person in the rows, okay? That night, we'll have the books for you. If you don't come, we will get the books to you. So, and then after that meeting, so the next morning, I can send out the link to watch the presentation. And then on the 12th, on your regularly scheduled meeting, just a reminder, we are actually planning on having a workshop with the Complete Streets Committee at 5:30, and then we'll start your regular meeting about an hour later when you're done with that. First order of business would be officers and the handbook and the regular kind of first part of the year business before we move forward with other business.
I don't know where we are in the timeline, but is it too early to know, or when will we know about empty seats versus appointments, given the application process prior to the 12th?
Yeah, it is too early to know. The deadline for people to apply is the 23rd, which was tomorrow.
Okay.
And then the clerk and the mayor will be meeting to work on filling seats. So I hope that we'll know, certainly before the 12th. But I don't think we're going to know in the next, week or two probably. So, yeah.
Before the 12th would be good, even
Yeah.
if it's the 11th.
I mean, the good news is there's only going to be one real vacancy
Okay.
with Roger's departure. So you'll certainly have enough members to have your meeting on the 12th. Yeah.
Thank you. Now a motion to adjourn. Those are important dates coming up, everybody.
Yep, motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Great.
Happy holidays. Yes, happy
Yes.
holidays,
Enjoy
everyone.
Enjoy your week and your snowstorm, you guys.
I
Yeah, what?
know.
I'm ecstatic. Is it really a snowstorm? Yeah, it's
Oh,
gone
yeah.
from dusting to 1 to 3 to 3 to 6, and now we're in the 6 to 9 jackpot.
Really?
I saw the and parking bans. So I'm sure parking is twice. What for? Did you see it twice?
Don't have a problem with
The
parking.
second one was just